Welcome back to the deep dive. We are doing something a little different today. Usually, we're out here dissecting external systems, tech trends, market collapses, the stuff you see on the news.
Right.
But today, we are turning the lens inward. We are looking at the operating system that actually runs your life, whether you want to admit it or not.
It is the code we are all running, but very few of us have actually bothered to read the documentation.
That is the perfect way to put it. The source material for this deep dive is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And I have to say, this book is a brick. It is massive.
It's dense, full of history, psychology, philosophy.
For sure. But the mission today isn't just to summarize a textbook. We want to strip away the surface level of human interaction, the polite smiles, the office politics.
The how we use, and just look at the raw machinery underneath.
Exactly. Greene's core premise is that we suffer from this dangerous delusion. We wake up, we go to work, we make choices, and we tell ourselves, I am in the driver's seat.
I am a rational, logical person making independent decisions.
Yeah.
But Greene argues that we are actually governed by these deep internal forces, irrationality, narcissism, the need to wear masks, that we rarely even acknowledge.
Right, let alone understand them. It's the illusion of control. And because we don't understand these forces, we get blindsided constantly. We get confused when a coworker we thought was a friend suddenly turns hostile. Or when a politician we voted for makes a decision that seems completely insane.
And the big one, the one that I think hits home for everyone, is when we sabotage ourselves.
Oh, yeah. That's the one that keeps me up at night. Why do we do things that we know are bad for us? Why procrastinate when the deadline is real?
Why pick fights we can't win? Greene argues that until you understand these laws, you are essentially flying a plane while wearing a blindfold.
So to unpack this, we are going to look at three very specific laws from the book, anchored by three really different stories from history.
It's a great lineup.
We have an ancient Athenian statesman trying to control a mob, an Antarctic explorer facing certain death,
And a paralyzed boy who learned to read minds just by watching his sisters.
Let's start with that first one, the law of irrationality. I think this is, well, it's the hardest pill to swallow for a lot of people.
It really is. We pride ourselves on being logical, especially in professional settings. You always hear, I'm a data-driven person.
Right.
We view rationality as a trait we're born with, like having brown eyes. But Greene just flips that on its head. He says humans are fundamentally irrational.
Dominated by emotion.
Completely.
Yeah.
Rationality isn't our default setting, it's a discipline. It's an acquired skill, like learning to play the piano. You aren't born playing it, you have to practice.
So it's not about the absence of emotion, it's about the management of it.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
It's the training to sort of subtract emotion from our thinking process when it matters. And to illustrate this, Greene takes us way back to the golden age of Athens, 432 BC.
The era of Pericles.
Yes, Pericles is the central figure here. He's the leader of Athens, and he's facing this crisis that would break most people. Athens is facing a looming war with Sparta.
And Sparta, they were no joke.
They were terrifying. The best infantry in the known world, just built for war. Athens, on the other hand, is a naval power. They're wealthy, democratic, full of artists and philosophers. But on land, they're vulnerable.
So if they fight a traditional battle field to field, Athens just gets crushed.
They get wiped out. And Pericles knows this. He's a man of immense discipline. Greene describes him as having this inner Athena, this state of mind where he is completely calm, detached, and focused on the long game.
And he convinces the Athenians to adopt a very difficult strategy.
Defensive warfare.
Yeah.
He told them, do not fight the Spartans on the ground. Bring your families inside the city walls. Let the Spartans burn your sarms. Let them destroy your olive groves.
Wow.
We will stay safe behind the walls, use our navy to bring in supplies, and just wait them out.
That is a rational plan logically, but emotionally. Watching your house burn down while you just sit and watch, that's agonizing.
It is torture. Can you imagine? You are standing on the wall, watching your livelihood go up in smoke, and your leader is telling you to just stand there. But for a while it worked. Pericles was the inner Athena for the entire city.
But then the variable no one predicted.
The Black Swan event. A plague hits Athens.
Devastating.
It kills a third of the population. Society starts to fracture. And then Pericles himself catches the plague and dies.
And this is where the law of irrationality really kicks in, right? The anchor is gone.
The anchor is gone and the ship just capsizes. The Athenians' love for Pericles instantly flips to hate. They blame him for the plague, which is absurd.
Right. He didn't invent the virus.
Of course not. but they need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
And without his rational influence, they give in to what Greene calls group delirium. They abandon the defensive strategy completely.
And they go on the attack?
Driven by fear, greed, and this need to lash out, they vote to launch a massive, aggressive invasion of Sicily, which was...
Ambitious is a gentle word for it.
It was suicidal, a catastrophe. They lost everything. Their ships, their army, their empire. Athens never recovered from it.
So the lesson isn't just war is bad. It's that when we let go of that rational leash, we don't just make mistakes, we destroy ourselves.
Right. And while we aren't leading Athens during a plague, Greene argues we are constantly governed by what he calls low-grade irrationalities. These are biases that distort our thinking every single day.
Let's run through a few of these, because I think everyone listening will recognize at least one of them in themselves. I know I did.
The first is confirmation bias. This is the most common one. You have an idea, and you go looking for evidence that supports what you already think.
And you ignore everything that contradicts you.
You dismiss it as flawed or just scroll right past it.
I do this with health symptoms online all the time. I decide I have something, and I only read the articles that agree with me.
We all do it. Then there is conviction bias. This is the belief that if I feel something strongly, if I'm passionate about it, if I have heat behind my words, it must be true.
We mistake intensity for accuracy. That's a dangerous one in leadership.
Very. The loudest person in the room isn't necessarily the right one. Then you have appearance bias. We judge people by their masks. If someone is successful, wealthy, charismatic.
We assume they're also ethical and competent.
Exactly. We conflate looking the part with being the part, which explains, frankly, a lot of financial scams.
For sure. He had a nice suit, so I gave him my money.
And the flip side of that is the superiority bias. This is the illusion that we are the rational ones. We look at others and say, oh, they are so emotional.
Look at them panic, but we're logical.
Right. And Greene says that belief itself is a sign of irrationality. If you think you're immune, you're the most vulnerable because you aren't checking yourself.
And there was one more, group bias.
Yes, group bias. This one is terrifyingly powerful. It's when we adopt an opinion not because we've thought it through, but because it brings us relief to belong to a tribe. It feels good to agree with our side.
That's social validation.
It's like a hit of dopamine. So Pericles cultivated this inner Athena to fight these biases. He visualized the rider and the horse.
That's the metaphor Greene uses.
Your reason is the rider. Your emotion is the horse. The horse is strong, powerful, necessary. You can't kill the horse.
You need that energy.
But if the rider is weak, the horse will run right off a cliff. The inner Athena is the rider keeping a firm, gentle grip on the reins.
Okay, so that handles how we manage our own minds. But we don't live in a vacuum. We have to deal with other people. And that leads us to the second big concept, the law of narcissism.
This is a heavy one. And we need to clarify the terms here because narcissist has become such a buzzword.
Right. We throw it at anyone who takes too many selfies or just anyone who breaks up with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Greene says we need to stop looking at narcissism as something other people have. He argues that we are all on the narcissistic spectrum.
All of us, even the most humble among us.
Every single one of us. It stems from a basic biological need for attention. We are social animals. If you leave a baby alone, it cries. It needs to be seen.
Okay.
The difference is how we handle that craving as adults. Greene breaks it down into 3 types. At the bottom, you have the deep narcissists.
These are the dangerous ones.
Yes. These people lack a coherent sense of self. They feel empty. So to function, they view other people not as humans, but as self-objects.
Self-objects. That is a chilling term.
It means you are an extension of them. Like an arm or a leg, you exist only to validate them. If you stop doing that or if you challenge them, you become a threat. You are a bad leg that needs to be cut off.
Then in the middle, we have the functional narcissist.
That's most of us.
Yeah.
We have let's say, a thermostat of self-esteem. We love ourselves enough to function, but we can also step outside ourselves. And then at the top, the ideal state, the healthy narcissist.
Which sounds like a contradiction. Healthy narcissist sounds like healthy poison.
It does. But a healthy narcissist is someone who has such a strong, secure sense of self that they don't need constant validation from others.
So they can turn their attention outward.
Exactly. They can practice true empathy because they aren't obsessed with protecting their own fragile ego.
And to illustrate this, Greene contrasts 2 leaders. Let's start with the dark side. Joseph Stalin.
Stalin is the archetype of the toxic, deep narcissist. And the scary thing is, if you met young Stalin, you probably would have liked him.
Really, I just picture this terrifying dictator.
Oh, he was terrifying. But he was also incredibly charming, portrayed himself as a man of the people. He was a great listener. He'd put his arm around you, ask about your family.
But Green points out that this wasn't empathy.
No, it was reconnaissance.
He was gathering data.
Exactly. He used that charm to probe people, to find their insecurities, their weaknesses. And once he had you, he used this push and pull dynamic. He'd be warm and affectionate 1 minute.
Making you feel like the most important person in the world.
Oh. And then he turns ice cold. He ignores you. He critiques you in public.
That psychological whiplash, it makes people desperate to get back into his good graces.
It creates total dependency. There's a story Greene tells about his dinner parties. He would force his inner circle to stay up all night, drinking heavily while he stayed sober, just watching them.
Waiting for them to slip up.
He once forced Nikita Khrushchev, a grown man, a high-ranking official, to dance the Gopak.
That's that Ukrainian folk dance with the squatting and kicking.
Yes. Imagine the humiliation. Stalin forced him to dance like a puppet while he watched and laughed. That is the essence of the deep narcissist. People are toys.
Okay, so let's pivot to the antidote, because Greene gives us this incredible counterexample, Ernest Shackleton.
The flip side of the coin, it's 1915. Shackleton's ship, the Endurance, is trapped in the Antarctic ice. It's being crushed.
He has 27 men, winter is coming, total darkness. They are thousands of miles from help.
By all logic, they're dead men.
And yet he got every single one of them home alive.
He did. And not by just being a tough guy or barking orders. He did it through what Greene calls visceral empathy. Shackleton didn't just manage logistics. He managed the mood of the camp.
He knew that despair was just as deadly as the cold.
Exactly. So, for example, every morning, Shackleton would wake up first and personally go tent to tent, serving hot tea to the men. He set a tone of service.
But my favorite story is the hot milk incident.
It says so much. They are in the lifeboats, rowing across the freezing ocean. It's hell on earth. And the carpenter, a man named McNeish, he just stops rowing. He's done. He's rebelling.
Now, a normal leader or a Stalin would have shot him, or at least screamed at him. Mutiny.
Right. But Shackleton knew that if he fought McNeish, he would break the group's spirit. He sensed the exhaustion in everyone. So instead of shouting, he calls a halt. He orders the cook to make hot milk for everyone.
He treated the rebellion as a symptom of fatigue, not treason.
And he saved McNeish's dignity. After the milk, McNeish picked up the oars and kept rowing.
That requires such a lack of ego, to not take that rebellion personally.
That is the healthy narcissist. He also knew how to handle difficult personalities. There was a photographer, Hurley, who was a bit of a snob.
The group bias disruptor.
Exactly. So what did Shackleton do? He didn't isolate him. He assigned Hurley to his own tent. He kept him close, flattered his ego, made him feel like a special advisor. He neutralized the threat.
So empathy here isn't just being nice, it's strategic, it's a survival tool.
It is. And Greene distinguishes between visceral empathy, feeling what others feel, and analytic empathy, gathering info on their past and values. Shackleton mastered both.
This leads perfectly into our third segment, because to read people like Shackleton did, you have to be able to see past the surface. You have to understand the law of role-playing.
All the world's a stage, right? Greene takes that literally. We all wear masks. We have to. It is the social lubricant that keeps civilization running.
If we all said exactly what we were thinking, society would collapse by lunch.
Absolutely. So the goal isn't to rip the masks off. The goal is to learn to read the second language of nonverbal cues, to see the reality underneath. And the guide for this is a fascinating figure, Milton Erickson.
This story is incredible. Before he became this world-famous hypnotherapist, he was just a teenager in a very bad situation.
A tragic one. At age 17, Erickson contracted polio. He was paralyzed, completely immobile, couldn't speak, trapped in his own body. The only thing he could move were his eyes.
That sounds like a nightmare.
But Erickson turned it into a laboratory. He was just sitting in a chair day after day, watching his 7 sisters interact. And because he couldn't participate, he became a pure observer.
And he started noticing the disconnect between what they said and what they did.
Huge disconnects. He'd see a sister say yes to a request, but her head would make a microscopic no movement. He saw a sister offer an apple, but her arm was stiff, holding back. Her body was screaming that she wanted to keep it.
He realized the body tells the truth.
Spoken languages often lie. So if we want to develop this Erickson eye, what are we looking for?
What are the decoding keys?
Greene highlights a few. First, microexpressions. These are flashes of true emotion that happen in a fraction of a second before the mask goes back up.
You have to train yourself to catch them. What about smiles? How do you actually tell a fake smile?
It's all in the eyes. A
Yeah.
genuine smile, what's called a Duchenne smile, activates the muscles around the eyes. You get those crow's feet. A fake smile stops at the mouth. If the eyes aren't smiling, the person isn't happy.
And what about signs of dislike?
Look for pursed lips. When we disapprove of something, our lips tend to disappear or tighten, or a stiffening of the neck. We physically recoil from things we don't like, even if it's just by a millimeter.
But, and this is a huge but, Greene warns us about a specific trap here.
Yes, the Othello error. This is critical.
In the play, Othello accuses his wife Desdemona of cheating. She looks terrified, and he interprets that as guilt.
Right. But she wasn't nervous because she was guilty. She was nervous because she was being accused by a jealous man with a sword.
So, stress signals do not equal lying.
Exactly. You might see someone fidgeting and think, aha, they're lying, but maybe they're just anxious. To read people well, you have to establish a baseline. You need to know how they act when they're relaxed before you can interpret their stress signals.
Greene also flips this. It's not just about reading others, it's about managing your own signals. Impression management.
Right. If you know the cues, you can control the cues you send. He uses the Emperor Augustus as an example. Augustus was the most powerful man in the world, an emperor in all but name. But he knew if he looked like a king, the Romans would kill him. They hated kings.
So he played a role.
The role of the humble servant. Lived in a modest house, wore simple wool togas. He used his nonverbal cues to project humility, which disarmed his enemies and let him hold on to absolute power for decades.
So bringing this all together, we've got Pericles taming the emotional horse, Shackleton turning self-love into empathy, and Erickson reading the hidden language of the body. What's the synthesis?
It comes back to control. We think we're in control, but we're usually just reacting. We react to our biases, to our need for attention, to the mask people wear. These laws are about stopping that reaction cycle.
It's about awareness.
Deep awareness. And I think forgiveness. When you understand why someone is acting irrationally, maybe they're afraid, maybe their ego is threatened, you don't have to take it personally.
You don't have to get angry.
You can step back like Pericles. You can manage the mood like Shackleton. It stops you from being a puppet in other people's drama.
I wanted to leave the listener with a thought from the book that really stuck with me. It's a quote from Heraclitus. Character is destiny.
It's a profound idea.
We tend to think of destiny as this thing that happens to us, luck, fate. But Heraclitus is saying, no, you are your destiny. Your patterns, your irrationalities, your empathy or lack of it, that is what writes the story of your life.
Exactly. If you keep repeating the same behaviors, you will keep getting the same results. That is your destiny. But if you can understand these laws, if you can change the character, you can change the destiny.
So the question for you is, if character is destiny, what kind of story are you writing for yourself right now? And is it the one you want to be in?
That is the question.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure.
Catch you next time.